not going to have a quorum. We need her Pontius, right? Or, yeah.
Or my homicide.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the September 27th, 2021 Parks and Recreation Commission regular meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Has the meeting been posted in accordance with the Nevada open meeting law?
Yes, it has.
And we have two members, one member on the phone, Mr. Pickens, and 3 members absent.
And Carlos walking in.
Okay, we have 2 members absent, and our quorum making member is arriving right now.
I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties. If we can just have a minute or two. We've lost connection with one of our teleconference members.
Okay, we'll stand by for just a moment.
Hi, Chuck. Sorry about that. Okay, we've got you live.
Okay, are we ready to go then? Okay, we have member Chuck Pickens on the phone, and 2 members are absent today. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
We do have a quorum. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll open it up for public comment. If anyone's out there in Cyra land, you can write comments via the Boulder City official website, or the public may call in at 702-589-9629. That number should be on your screens if you're watching this at home. Having no indication of public comment, we'll move on. We're going to go slightly out of order here. Instead of the first item is going to be item 3C, so that sports coordinator Kelly Lara can get onto her normally scheduled duties. So we'll have a verbal report from her on sports.
Okay, so field rentals are on the rise. We have tournaments probably every weekend. Hemingway, the last 2 weeks have been senior softball, bringing in a lot of revenue to the city. Hundreds of people, and if anybody drives down there, you'll see it's been busy with the lights on almost every single day. We have another weekend with them. And then Wayland and Vets 2, which are our 90-foot bases. We have Nevada Youth Baseball coming out, Vegas Valley Baseball coming out, all the way through December, almost every single weekend. So post-COVID, it's an outside event. We have a lot of activity. For adult sports, I have co-ed softball going right now. We had 10 teams up until yesterday, and now we have 9. We're playing on Sundays at Hemingway and Vets 3, which is that multi-use field at the back of Veterans Memorial. And we are in the process of organizing over the line leagues or a tournament. I'm not sure, depending on the number of people, the number of teams we get. We will be playing those on Thursday nights in October. Those are 4-man teams, so I think we can probably get more teams. That's the problem with that 10th co-ed softball team, is that they just can't get enough girls to play, and so they run out of people. And our co-ed softball is Sunday nights at Hemingway and Vets, if I didn't say that already, starting at 6 o'clock at night. We have women's volleyball tonight, which is why I'm kind of in a hurry to make sure I get out there and get it organized. Monday nights, starting at 6:30, we have 5 teams. We had more teams than that, but because of the indoor sports modifications with the mask mandate, there were a couple teams that dropped out. They have to play with masks on when they're indoors, and there's no spectators. And that way I don't have to police the spectators and make sure they have their masks on. We did that for men's basketball in the summer. It was very difficult for Jamie and I. So a lot of municipalities are not having indoor sports at all. I have gym supervisors that make sure that the mask mandate's being followed, and if it's not, they're asked to leave. So far, last week, we had that first day of women's volleyball, and it was fantastic. They all wore their masks, and it's not really detrimental to not have that mask on. There's not a lot of running going on, but they do get tired. They have to go outside, take the mask down, take some breaths in between games. So it's working, so we're hoping we can get through that league. Youth sports, we're in the process of soccer, the soccer league. We have 25 soccer teams, 4 kindergarten, 8 first and second, 10 third through 5th grade teams, and 3 6th through 8th grade teams. So 229 participants, which is awesome compared to last year. We also have parent volunteers back again, which is nice for my staff. Games are played Monday through Thursday, 6 and 7 p.m. starts at Veterans Memorial Pratt Field. The whole league is sponsored by Gibson Orthodontics again this year, which we're super thankful to them. And we recently canceled our indoor youth volleyball due to COVID restrictions. I have a hard time trying to get kids to wear the masks. And then the parents want to come in with the siblings, and I just can't do it. So all of the municipalities countywide did not have indoor youth volleyball. So I would have been the only one to do it. So I decided to stay with everybody else and do what they were doing. And so we had to cancel. There's a lot of grumbling, but I think it's the safe thing to do. And we hope to be back in the next fall. We thought the restrictions would be lifted too, so not so much. Football registration is ongoing through this Thursday. We have 25 kids registered now. We had another 20 kids that weren't registered that were at the clinic on Saturday morning. And we hope to accommodate all 3rd through 8th graders who are interested with games on Mondays and Wednesday nights starting that last week in October. It's sponsored by SDGE. They gave us some money and sponsored those football jerseys, which is kind of nice. I just wanted to bring to Parks and Rec Commission attention that we're struggling with registration for that just because Clark County has offered flag football with their middle schools. So they're offering cross country, soccer, flag football. Next year it will be volleyball. So I don't know what my numbers will do next year, but right now they have that soccer alternated with my soccer. So I have a good registration for soccer, and they'll offer soccer in the spring, so I don't know what that will do with my t-ball. Coach pitch should be fine, but my softball, baseball might go down. I think that's it for my sports. We're kind of back in action. It's kind of nice to be outside with these kids and see them running around. And I had just a couple pictures Roger took last week of 3rd through 5th grade. It just shows their uniforms, shows them running around. They're smiling. That's the way Boulder City should be in the fall. So do you guys have any questions for me? Chuck, can you hear me? Okay.
No questions? Thank you, Kelly. We'll move on to now our item number 1, get back on track here, and that is, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the May 24th, 2021 meeting.
I move.
And a second?
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion passes. Next item is relating to the Boulder City Municipal Golf Course. We need to approve those operational reports. I need a motion for that.
I move.
Second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And now, verbal report from Director Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The golf course workers were very busy in September. The greens were mowed and were mowed on a daily basis. The greens were aerified, and that went well on the 16th of September. All the plugs that were pulled out of the greens were dumped on exposed tree roots and leveled out. So it's a nice way to level things out around the trees. Overseeding of the tees, fairways, approaches, and collars happened on 9/17 and are germinating well. We opened Friday, October 1st for golf. We closed down for 2 weeks to allow the grass to grow, and it's really paid off in the past. We tried that, I believe, last year, and it really worked out. The course is in great shape. We're weed eating all trees, lakes, streams, and perimeter edges. We're replacing lots and lots of sprinklers and lateral valve irrigation system. The system is getting older and is less efficient, so there's a lot of replacing going on. We're trimming the trees that are impacting the spray patterns for the sprinklers, and we're filling potholes on the cart paths, entrances, and exits. We're going around the clubhouse and snack shack on number 9 and trimming all shrubs and weeds in the decomposed granite areas. So a lot of work's being done down there. The course is looking really, really good, and we're anticipating a good opening on October 1st. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Item 3, relating to the Recreation Division of the department, and we need to approve the operational reports for the Recreation Division. I need a motion for that.
I move. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. And somebody doing Jen, we're just going to skip over Jen's. Are you going to do it?
I have it.
Okay.
So Jen has given me her information, starting with Safekee and the Youth Center. They have hired a Youth Center coordinator, and one of the summer staff employees has returned. So they do have a little bit more staffing than what we started with. They have extended the capacity for the morning and afternoon Safekee up to 30 kids, and most days there is still availability. Parents do need to call and register in advance, but again, there is availability for most mornings and afternoons for all the kiddos. As far as the youth center goes, the coordinator that we did hire is currently working in our Safekee program while we're short-staffed, and we'll slowly start doing events back at the youth center. So the age group from 6th grade through high school will be able to have some activities moving forward. I think she's planning on maybe a movie night in October, and then some other fun events moving forward. So for right now, it's not going to be open full time, but we are going to slowly start opening that. And when staffing is not as challenging, we will definitely be opening that and continuing that program. As far as the Art Center goes, it is fully opened and all classes have resumed. And the response has been really well received. A lot of new students are taking some of the pottery classes and some of the other classes that are offered at the Art Center. Tiny Tots started the 3rd week in August, and they have 21 kids in the 4- and 5-year-old class and 14 kids in the younger class. Numbers are down just a little bit, but I think that is due to the fact that the elementary school here is offering free all-day preschool, so that was a little bit of a competition for us. So we have the wonderful children that were meant to be in the program that are, attending it every day, so we like that. As far as special interest classes, they are continuing to grow. Our gymnastics class will be resuming in October. Our
Gymnastics instructor McKenna recently had a baby boy the beginning of August, and so she has a lot of students that have been anxiously awaiting for her release and her ability to come back and teach. So that should be starting in October. Dance instructor, Mr. Jim, he had some medical issues this summer and hasn't quite been released yet to get back to his very aerobic teaching of dance. So we're hoping that that will resume quickly as well, because that is a very popular class. Our functional fitness class is continuing to grow, and that is what used to be called our senior stretch class, and it has really taken off and expanded and become quite a quality workout for some of our older population. And that, again, has had up to 27 registrants in every single month, and that was a class that maybe had 3 or 4 at one time. So again, that class is thriving. We do have a new addition that will be joining us. We had everything planned and ready to go to start square dancing and contra dancing in September. However, with the mask mandate, they asked to put it off. And that is a class that's going to be run by a volunteer. So it'll strictly be a volunteer class that'll be happening probably at the Department of Water and Power building. And we're hoping that as soon as the mask mandates are lifted, that will be started up. Fitness Center is operating back to normal. Of course, masks still are in place, but there's no capacity restrictions, no reservations needed, and so it's up and running. Any questions on classes or special interest?
Hearing none, we'll move on to item 3D, which is also you, Julie.
Okay, well, and I will tell you that Jennifer did leave the copy of the next edition of Parks and Recreation activities from September to February. So next we have some administrative items that I just wanted to let you know about. We have had a couple events recently that are slightly out of the ordinary. We had a big, kind of fancy pre-wedding dinner celebration, and it was at the Dry Lake Bed. It was close to 200 guests that were there. They had, it was a Moroccan theme, and they had even camels that were there. So it was quite an elaborate event that you would never really think of happening at the Dry Lake Bed. And as you look at those pictures, you can't even, decipher that it's the Dry Lake Bed. Another one that's the bottom pictures is the film production that we had back 2 weeks ago. It was the 16th of June, where a motion picture came and took over the recreation center and had it set up as a talent show. We had about 100 extras that were, in the audience or magician acts, and it was just nice for them to be able to roll in and kind of take over for the day and roll out. So it's a nice added revenue source for our city that really has very little negative impact at all on our community. Again, they were here for less than 24 hours, so it was kind of nice. In and out, and being so close to Boulder or to Las Vegas, it makes it really nice for them because they were filming all throughout the valley. Some projects that we are working on is the pickleball courts. We're going to be adding them on to Broadbent tennis courts, the exterior tennis courts. We worked with our local pickleball. Did I say pickleball? Okay, pickleball, we're working with our local pickleball players to make sure that the surface of it was, in accordance to how they would like to be able to play. It hits a little bit different. Certainly it'll hit differently than it would on the gym. So we wanted to make sure we worked with them that it was going to be a surface that would work for their regular play. So that should be happening before the end of the year. And next month we have scheduled a LED light conversion for our ABC Park gymnasium. So that'll make it much more effective with the energy and changing those out to LEDs. A couple other things on the horizon. We have ordered a new fleet of golf carts for Boulder Creek. It's 130 golf carts. but with everything else, manufacturing is very slow. We are hoping to have them hopefully before February. We are in dire need of them. I think about 10 golf carts die every single day and have to get recharged and aren't quite making it around for those two rounds every single day. So they're struggling, but with that new fleet on the horizon, everybody's looking forward to that. Other projects that will be happening this year, we're looking at splash park drainage improvements. There's some areas in the middle of the summer where the splash park is struggling to get rid of all that water fast enough. So we have some muddy areas that we're trying to figure out exactly how we can best facilitate that. The other thing that we'll be doing is working on a recoating of our safety surfacing at some of our playgrounds around town. About every 2 or 3 years, they ask you to a protective coating over them that will just, in the long run, add to the longevity of the safety surface. So we'll be adding those probably next spring to all of our safety surface that is the pour-in-place solid surface. So the only other thing that I wanted to share was that Sherry and I are working with the state of Nevada to come up with a parks inventory for all outdoor facilities for the state of Nevada. So basically they want to see, how many trails we have, how many parks we have, if we have ponds, camping facilities, and basically they're trying to get a whole statewide inventory so that the state can be marketed on a statewide level for outdoor activities. I did also leave for you the special events that are happening throughout the rest of the year, and I think there's about 60 of them that are just happening between now and the end of December. So we have a lot of stuff going on.
Very good, thank you. Item number 4, we need to approve the operational reports for the Aquatic Division. Do I have a motion for that?
I move. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. And now we'll have a verbal report from Sierra Beggs with the Aquatic Division.
All right. This is my first time doing this, guys, so give me a break, okay? So Cherie left me some notes here, and so I'll just kind of briefly go over them. So classes, in May, we were still restricted as to how many people we could put in each class due to our space. We had pretty much every class that was available during that time full. We didn't have any learn to swim classes at that time because that's bubble month. So we only had water fitness and pre-swim and things like that. But again, they were almost full. June through August, our learn to swim lessons, we had 257 children participate during those months. And then our water fitness, we had 373 patrons participate in those classes June through August. And let's see. Oh, and she gave me some photos here. Thanks, Julie. For our world's largest swim lesson that we had on June 17th, and we had 80 students in attendance for that. And then the other photos are from the July 3rd coin toss, and we had 352 people attend that. And then as far as programming that we've had in the past few months, we have really ramped that up. We've had BCH, which we always have. We had a company called HM Safety Certifications, and they train lifeguards mostly for properties on the Strip, but they rent out the pool, I'd say probably 2-3 times a month. And they've been doing that May through August, and they usually have about 6 to 8 students. We had the Bureau of Reclamation. They rented out our dive tank to do some training. We had a couple of preschool/daycare centers come throughout the summer with about 25 kids each, some coming 5 days a week, some coming 2 or 3 times a week. We had the elementary schools and the junior high. They brought their students, which they haven't done that before. They brought them a few times over the summer. And then we also had our new junior lifeguard program that ran in June and July. And we had 8 students in June and 3 in July. And hopefully they'll be working with us as soon as they're of age. But we only have 1 that is actually going to participate in the lifeguard training we're doing next week. As far as maintenance, we had some grids replaced in the filtration pit in May, and they are replacing the rest now. We are in the middle of putting the bubble up. Bubble day itself is going to be on the 29th, so this coming Wednesday. And let's see. We still don't have a pool maintenance worker. We are in works brainstorming how we can come up with a position for that with maybe other departments and get somebody who's qualified in there to help us out. I'm sorry. We hired 8 new lifeguards to start the summer out, but a lot of them have gone off to college or other jobs at this time. We are training 3 new lifeguards next week, and we did hire 1 person that is already certified, so we have 4 new employees coming on. And I think that is it. Any questions?
How do we get the lifeguards more money for their hourly?
Their current wage is on a scale, so it has to be within that scale. However, across the board, we are kind of looking at that with all of the struggles that we have had with hiring and retaining. So it's definitely something that we're looking at with within the entire city, and we're looking at with HR, and we're in the middle of a class comp study. So it's definitely something that is being looked at. And I will say, though, we are somewhat comparable to Over the Hill. There's not a whole lot of variances for starting, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So we're working on it. We're trying.
It's definitely, because there's a lifeguard at the pool who works for like a lifeguard staffing company, basically. So they place him, and he makes between $15 and $17 an hour, depending where he's going. So like for somebody like him, it's almost a favor to stay at the Boulder pool. And I know Henderson does pay comparably, but there is like a huge competitive pool system with all the casinos and stuff too.
Correct, and that's what we're trying to get across to the powers that be, is that we are not just in competition with other jurisdictions, which kind of have the same price, the same wage, but we are competing with, Calabunga Bay, and the hotels and private companies like the one that you just mentioned. So
Well, and McDonald's too. I mean, they pay.
I know they're starting at like 12 to 14 now.
correct, exactly. So we're trying to get there, but unfortunately, we just can't do
Oh, for sure.
Swipe of a pen, because we would have done it a long time ago.
Yeah. And then for the hours during the winter, are they going to basically be what they've been in the past? The few hours in the morning, the lunch time?
I hope so. We might not be able to offer the noon swim right now, just because the people that we do have, it'll put them over hours for the week. And then some people that won't be over hours are in school during that time. So hopefully we can make things work. I mean, I'll lifeguard if I have to, but we'll,
And it's still planned to be open Monday through Friday?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to.
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, yeah.
Do you guys think you're going to continue with the reservation system?
Probably for some of the lanes, yes,
Okay.
because a lot of people do like that. And then,
I've heard kind of like a 50-50 split. There's a lot of people frustrated by it, even people that don't necessarily disagree with it. I've had instances where they've made a reservation and then it's not entered on the spreadsheet correctly. And I could see probably for the morning, people being a little bit more consistent, but it's definitely, I've got some feedback about how disheartening it is when you call to swim and you're not able to, because I feel like our pool is not incredibly busy, and to turn patrons away is a little bit of a surprise to me. Plus, just with how challenging things are right now, and people who are trying to do things that are positive for themselves to get like turned away, it seems like a huge conflict of like trying to reach the needs of your community. And I even had a couple of experiences over the summer. I would call to see if a lane was available. I'd call 3 or 4 times, nobody would answer. And then when I'd get there, they'd say there was no space. And then one of the days I went out to check and there were 4 open lanes, because there had been 4 lanes set aside for Swim for Fitness when 1 person showed up. And there's also a lot of no-shows in general, so all that space is getting wasted. And it doesn't allow people to just kind of show up after work or be flexible. So just some feedback I've heard from a lot of patrons at the pool.
I am going to have a training with the lifeguards, or not the lifeguards, the cashiers, just kind of like a refresher training. And I've been considering opening a couple more lanes for sharing so that we can get more people in there. But I do think at a certain point, they weren't understanding exactly what sharing lanes were. So sometimes they were turning people away when we could put more people in, or just showing up, they were turning them away because they didn't call, or, so I am gonna definitely talk to them and see what we can work out. And we all know those few people that don't ever wanna share a lane, so I feel like.
And they've been there like the
Yeah.
last 20 years since I
Yeah.
lifeguarded when I
Right.
was a teenager, but.
So I feel like we have to have a couple lanes like that, but I think we can definitely cut it down.
Okay. Yeah, because Henderson stopped making reservations like months ago, and I know a lot of people are doing that just because they can walk into the pool and swim. And I mean, even now, like being assigned a lane, patrons are like, I'm hearing frustration about that, because then it causes conflict between the patrons once they get out there, and just the general frustration with how complicated the process is to get in the pool and swim. So,
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And I think some of it comes from not having lifeguards too. So hopefully that we'll be able to get all that squared away.
All good? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sierra. On item 5, we don't really have need a motion on that, do we? It's just a verbal report, is that correct? Correct. Okay. And so we'll have a verbal report from Director Hall on the Bootleg Canyon area.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mountain biking is going very well at Bootleg Canyon. The great weather for events. On October 9th, we're having a mud run in the detention basin, and we're expecting a real good number of participants. And there's still some openings if you guys would like to sign up for it.
Man.
And I'll be there to take some video and pictures. The aerial trails are still closed down. However, the owner has contacted the city and is interested in possibly opening them back up. But I'll keep you posted on that because I haven't seen any movement on that for a while. But basically, the trails are in great shape. The people are using them, and we're excited about things coming back with mountain bike races and a lot of activities out there. So, any questions?
I'm sorry. There was a mountain bike race recently, right? Like a downhill, or I think.
Yeah, Mike Scherer puts it on. Uh-huh.
And I think there are a couple more of those scheduled.
Yes, I mean, he has them, and as we're approaching the fall, obviously the weather is cooling down, and you see a lot of people riding in the mornings out there. I mean, and these events are going on. So it's getting busy up there.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Roger? And next one is our commission reports. So it's an opportunity for commission members to comment on items of interest or things they've gotten from the community members. Carla, do you have anything?
I just, it sounds like there's a lot of issues going on at the pool, just from the things you've brought up. I just want to make sure that we've fought really hard for a new pool. We've fought really hard for that to be opened up to the public and meet the needs, and just want to make sure that communication's happening and we're doing the best that we can with what we can with the facilities and resources we have. Obviously, there's nothing we can do about pay raises until the city moves on that, but anyway, that's just all. Just if we're having that many conversations, maybe we need to really look into it a little bit harder.
Do you have anything?
No, I mean, the lifeguard, I know staffing is difficult everywhere right now. But we've had some really good employees who are very passionate about what they do who have left. And I know they left with frustrations. So, and I know 2 new lifeguards just put 2 weeks notice in last week as well. So there's definitely some unhappiness happening and some frustrations. And I do think there's definitely room to look into it a little bit more.
I also have a couple things here, if I may. Kelly mentioned that we have the World Senior Softball Tournament at Hemingway Park, and they're really enjoying the great fields and the great view of the lake. If you look at playing, a lot of people down there. If you have a chance, go down and take a look. You got a lot of happy old guys running around, and I'm one of them probably. I have some pictures here, and I'll pass those out as well. We also have experienced some vandalism on the lights at the fields down there. We noticed some of the banks were not coming on, and when we investigated, we noticed someone had gotten in there and did some damage. And I wanted to publicly thank the electrical division of the Public Works Department. And this vandalism happened the week that we were going to start the senior tournament down there. And we were really worried that it was we wouldn't be able to have lights for some of the games. And but the Public Works Department came through, and we were able to get the lights back on before we needed to use them to start the tournament. So I want to thank the Public Works Department. They really saved the day on that one. So that is the end of my report.
Very good. Any other comments? Okay, our last item is public comment, open to any topic. Again, you can comment via the city's website or by calling 702-589-9629. Having no indication of any public comment, I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
I move.
I second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
The meeting adjourned.
Just in time.
I know, right? I was holding it. I know, right? You'd like to